Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday for whatever reason. I thought it was Friday yesterday, that was Friday today. Tomorrow's Friday, and everybody cement that in your mind. We've got one more day till the weekend, and honestly, it's going to be a hot weekend. So keep that in mind. Make your little reminder, your notes as you prepare for your weekend ahead. It's going to be real hot, and we'll get into that in a minute to see what to expect. But right now, it's a little cloud cover out the door. It's not as bad as we saw yesterday. It was real gray, real gloomy looking. We've got a little more sunshine built in our day today. And you can see it's a good deal of shade in some places as well. As folks are crossing under the overpass there, you can kind of see that there's more shade heading that direction. But we finally have seen that fog out the door. It's gone. Thank goodness, because Port Guntersville had like zero visibility all morning. I pulled up their camera and I was like, oh, I could see a little bit of the trees. I could see a little skyline. And then we go into commercial break. I come back to try and show you guys the skyline. It's non-existent. It has been, and I hope you all made it to work safely, made it where you needed to go. The kids got to school safe, because it was just no visibility anywhere, like from east to west, north to south. Nobody was seeing a thing. So it was, I could see it when I started to get here this morning. I could kind of see it starting to stir up a little bit. I was like, it's getting a little spooky on the roads this morning. I usually, for the morning shift, you've got to be here around like 2 a.m. So I was driving, it was like 1:30. It was giving very spooky, but temperatures at the moment, a little warm. We're warming up rather quickly. And yesterday's warm up was slow due to the cluster of storms that just kind of hung over the valley for the most part of our day. And really less of that activity today, but most of the showers and storms we're going to see, they're going to kind of build in on themselves, if that makes sense. And then we'll see the heaviest of downpours stay west and south of us. So some of our western communities, southern communities like Coleman, for example, I know there's a heavy downpour coming for y'all this afternoon and evening. Again, something I'll get into in a moment, but right now, beautiful conditions. We've got the dry hours of the day starting off, but we'll start to see a wet commute home. And honestly, to and from work today it's going to be kind of crazy. You've driven in with fog all over the place, and that was already kind of tough to see. And then you're driving home with rain, which makes for slick roads. So just be careful on the roadways today. It's a cautious Thursday, I would say. Most of us are getting into those low and 80s. Some areas still a little cooler. Winchester around 79. Fort Payne as well. Meridianville, Fayetteville. Some of these areas staying just a little cooler than most, but we'll continue to see our temperatures raise into those mid 80s. And something that may be kind of slowing other areas cool downs, or warm ups, I should say. What's causing some of those cool downs is the amount of cloud cover we're seeing for our day ahead as well. We'll keep the clouds around for most of our day. However, heat index values around 97, close to 3 and 4 o'clock. That's lovely. It's going to be a hot day this afternoon, and really with the rain chances we're expecting, it's going to be steamy out the door. So expect to feel kind of like a pressure cooker situation, all this steam in your face. If you are in a really cold setting, you wear glasses like I do, they're going to fog up a little bit, possibly. Just keep that in mind. It's going to be another one of our typical Tennessee Valley days of steam, and more steam. However, conditions will dry out once we get into our weekend ahead. We're expecting some of those rain chances to taper off. Friday will be a smaller chance of rain. Not everyone will see rain, but if you didn't see rain at any point this week, you're not in the valley. It's been a widespread amount of rain from, I would say, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way into this afternoon, this evening, and even part of Friday. Not everyone, again, will see rain for Friday, and Thursday we could have a little hit or miss this afternoon, maybe a community or two, but looks to be pretty widespread for most of us. Again, we'll struggle to kind of get to those upper 90s or the low end 90s for the day. 90s are expected high, so some of our warmer communities out west especially, you guys would have a better chance of seeing 90, but you may not hold on to it long, because rain chances are expected to move in. Stronger rain chances are expected to move in from the west. The lighter showers and storms will stay on the eastern end, but we're expecting some downpours moving in from Mississippi. So keep that in mind for sure as you head about your day. Of course, Bishop Jerry, always. This is what we love to do. We love to sit and explain in depth about the forecast and make sure we're giving you guys all the information you could possibly need for your day and even your weekend, since we're kind of shifting gears to the next part of our week. Again, afternoon showers is the expectation. You can expect a wet commute home. This is what I was talking about. This is 4 o'clock today. You can see those heavy downpours, more so over the Mississippi area and parts of Tennessee before they reach us over here in the valley. And the lighter rain hanging over Georgia, parts of South Tennessee, but closer to the Chattanooga area. And you'll watch and see what I mean when it kind of builds in on itself. They meet in the middle there and create some heavy downpours, as you can see, over Huntsville, parts of Fayetteville, good deal of Madison, Limestone County will get some heavy downpours. We're expecting heavy downpours passing through Marion all the way over to Coleman County. That's going to be the expectation for around 3 to 4 o'clock. Some folks could get an earlier shower around 1 or 2. If you're on the outskirts of our areas closer to the state lines, you could see a downpour or 2 a little early on. But the more organized versions of the showers expected comes in around this point of 4 to 6 o'clock, and it starts to stay in one centralized location once we get to 7. And by that point, we'll see a good deal of rain throughout the rest of the day, but it'll start to clear out closer to 9 and 10. So if you had some evening plans, maybe you have somewhere to drive out to this evening, or if you were planning to enjoy some time just debriefing your week, you probably would come out better doing that indoors for a good chunk of our areas. It's miserable today, humidity-wise, and we walk it back to oppressive, hooray, on Friday and Saturday. But conditions are expected to dry out heading into Sunday and Monday, making it sticky, but better than what we're dealing with for now and the start of the weekend. Drier conditions, though, do mean that we could deal with some high heat advisories. Feel like temperatures, we're expecting it to be around 102 to 104, maybe 106 for some of our warmer areas. We're still monitoring that, and NWS, of course, they've always been really great about making sure we're well aware of what's to come. But this weekend, if you had some outdoor plans, it's going to feel quite uncomfortable outside, honestly. It'll just kind of feel steamy, a little less steamy than what we're seeing today, but enough that you just kind of, you're like, ugh, it's humid. Like you can feel it, your hair starts to swell a little bit. Yeah, and that's the kind of weather that sits on your makeup or sits on your skin, and you're just kind of like not that great feeling. Again, continuing to see that through the weekend, but we're expecting some sticky conditions to cap off the weekend into the work week. Expected potential rainfall for tonight, well under an inch. We saw some folks yesterday get around 2 to 3 or so inches, especially the closer you are to eastern Tennessee, Chattanooga area for sure. Heavy downpours were just, like I mentioned, sitting all across the valley, but those areas had the heavier showers. So you may have seen a heavy shower or 2. We did see some that kind of passed through our area, but the heaviest of them all just kind of sat over Chattanooga and parts of, I believe, Franklin County and Winchester for sure, High Top, Scottsboro in Alabama. Those folks saw a good deal of rain. And I believe our gauge topped out at about 2.5 for some of those areas. And then looking further east, like I mentioned, that's where those 3s, 3.5s sat for yesterday. What we're expecting over the next 5 days, like I mentioned, walking back rain chances for Friday. We'll see our rain chances pass through on Friday, rather light. As you can see there's some light, that mint green color for most of our area. And dry conditions Saturday through Monday. Very few showers, if any, to pass through, but Tuesday we could see a stray shower or 2 as we start to see rain chances fall back into the forecast for Wednesday. So that's the expectation. But like I mentioned, dry conditions for Saturday through Monday, even possibly Tuesday. Most of the Tuesday could be dry for a good bit of us. We could see a couple of folks with a passing shower over the rooftops. But walking back to Friday, less chance for showers at 20%. You may see a passing one for a couple minutes or so, but we don't expect it to take over most of the day. Looking into Saturday and Sunday, 95. Hot. That's all you can say on that. We're expecting that feel like temperatures are going to go above 100, and we are still waiting out to see if there's going to be a possibility with those heat advisories and heat warnings. I feel like we may be on the advisory end for a good portion of us. I know some of our criteria is around 104, I believe. And remember, keep in mind, there's timelines with all of this. There's specific numbers that you have to reach, but you have to reach them for a certain period of time. It has to be expected. Like, for example, 105 has to be expected for about 2 hours before it's ruled a high heat, extreme heat advisory, extreme heat warning, and 105 is just a number. I pulled some of the Tennessee counties. Their heat advisory numbers are a little more sensitive, being further north, so some of their heat advisory numbers will be on the lower end, whereas our Alabama communities were typically around like 106, 107, maybe 108 for some areas. So it's on the higher end of the spectrum for us, lower end of the spectrum for our Tennessee communities. So we could see some heat advisories earlier on with some of our Tennessee folks, but for the most part, we're expecting Saturday and Sunday to be real hot. We're going to get some cloudy conditions that'll give us a little cloud cover. It's not going to do a whole ton to cool us off, but just enough to say it did something, you know? Getting through Monday and Tuesday, take it down a little bit to those lower end 90s, but still hot nonetheless, and more sunshine is expected with less cloud cover to come with that. But as we get into Wednesday, you'll notice rain chances are back into the forecast, and that kind of turns our Thursday and Friday back into those 80s. Friday's at 84, and then by Saturday we're at 89. So we're going to stick around those mid and upper 80s for this time next week. And the expectation is that we could possibly see a false fall. Of course, it's still a little early to tell with those temperatures and how far they're going to drop, but we are expecting a good drop coming in the next couple of days. And that's just kind of the forecast across the board. We've been kind of tracking that for a couple of days now, that it could drop to that. And the more model runs that we see, the more the potential for maybe an 82 is kind of likely. So we'll continue to watch that. There is a cold front expected to move through some areas, but it looks like it narrowly misses us, but it just really depends. There's some variables that could change within this weekend, for example, with some of the higher heat that we're seeing. Some of those variables can change on a dime, and that can kind of shift in the atmosphere and determine whether we're going to get just the smaller, weaker part of the cold front, or if we're going to get a heavier chunk of it. So once again, we'll keep that up to date for you and let you know when we can expect that. But we can confidently say there's going to be a cool down to come. We'll be in those 80s for sure this time next week. So, but we just got to push through these extreme, which is, I would say it's extreme now because we haven't had this level of high heat in a while. So that's kind of what makes it extreme by nature. We just haven't seen it in a moment or two. It's been about 2-ish weeks, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it's been a while. Especially, I'm trying to think back to, I think it was actually just before the beginning of this month. So that would be 2 weeks. It's the 14th. We were coming into August a little cooler, but we still had those first alert weather days right before that. So it has been a little moment that we've seen heat on the higher end of the 90s. So I don't think we'll go into first alert, but of course I'll talk to Jeff and we'll kind of brainstorm from there. But right now it just kind of feels like we're going to see a good deal of a warm up for this weekend. Dry conditions all around. So make sure you're keeping that in mind as you plan things for this weekend. Make sure you are, hydrating and go back to that mindset of making sure that you're taking breaks in the shade and all that good stuff, because there's not going to be much to cool you off with rain chances being scarce for 3 to 4 days. And I'm honestly interested to see how our drought monitor will change and how it will look. I'll look into that. I think the drought monitor has come out today. Yeah, it's Thursday, so I'll look into that and I'll post it, make sure to post it on my Facebook, and we can all look at it together. Feel free to comment. But with the rainfall that we've had this week, it won't show up for this model run of the drought monitor. It'll show up for next week. So next Thursday, catch me then, and we'll compare the two. Actually, let's do that. That sounds fun. Weather nerds, comparing 2 model runs is fun. I'm excited about it. You guys can tune in and make your decision from that point. But it'd be interesting to see how different these two will be. From this one, I want to see this one for next Thursday. And then since we have these drier conditions coming into the week, I'd be interested to see what changes. So if there's any changes, sometimes it's kind of tough to get a change when you have like a smaller stretch like this. Like this is a good stretch of warmer weather, but some of the time it can be a little bit of a tough challenge to dry out, or at least, get rid of the dryness with some rain chance and cooler air mass and everything. But back to today's forecast, keep that umbrella nearby. Drive safe this afternoon and evening because there's going to be those heavier downpours. So far, I haven't seen much conversation about any flooding potential. I know there are some areas. I know this morning there was a flood potential, or 2 state routes that were flooded. And I'm so sorry, I can't remember where exactly, but I believe we discovered that they had cleared them later in the morning. But I'll make sure that we stay on top of that for sure for the next couple of days. I haven't seen anything so far via our weather service chat. So as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. We've got one more day. Friday Eve, as some would say. I hope that you are making sure you're staying safe. You're hydrating, even though it's not as hot as what we'll see this weekend. It's not a bad idea to get started a little early, and take it easy on the roads today. Hopefully, I don't think we'll have as much fog in the morning. I don't think so, but I'll keep an eye out for it for sure. I'll be back tomorrow morning as well. So, got another day filling in for Mr. Eric Burke, and of course, Jeff will be here this afternoon for Brad, and we'll have TVL, we'll have noon, more weather extras to come tonight, and I hope you will tune in and get your forecast in the best way possible for you. Again, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that you've enjoyed our weather extra.